Welcome and thanks for joining us today on our webinar, How to Make Work from Home Sustainable for Your Business. We have a few housekeeping items to start. We will be recording this session. All lines have been muted, but we will be taking questions periodically throughout the event. Please enter any questions or comments you have into the Q&A or the chat box. With COVID-19 impacting people around the world, organizations everywhere are looking to remote work in the interest of safety of their employees and customers and communities. We recognize the vital role that technology plays in supporting people and organizations, both today and in the long run. And as such, we've put together some initial guidance to help you enable remote work so your employees have access to the tools and resources and expertise they need in this challenging time. Many companies have advised their employees to expect work from home through at least the end of the year. And in the case of Twitter, employees have been told that they can work from home forever. Some 60% of office workers who are now remote say they have a better work-life balance without a commute. And in fact, workplace monitoring company Protoscore said that US workers were 47% more productive in March and April of this year than in the same period last year because of work from home. As we get started, we want to remind everyone to please use open the Q&A panel. We'd like to have everyone type your questions as you think of them. We will be stopping at multiple points throughout the event to review and discuss them. We want to encourage you guys to share your strategies and challenges with remote workforces in the Q&A panel so we can answer them in our discussion this afternoon. Before we share with you some info on how to make work from home sustainable, I'd like to first introduce the CEO of DiamondIT, Matt Mayo.
Thanks, Jeremy. Now, just a little bit about Diamond. We're a security-focused managed service provider. So security first is our motto. We have offices in Bakersfield and Los Angeles, expanding in the Central Valley to Fresno. I've been in the IT business for over 15 years. Jeremy's been with me since day one in various roles throughout those 15 years. And most recently, he is our lead CTO, that's our customer-facing CTO, and he also sets a lot of our standards here internally at DiamondIT. So you got a great speaker and expert in the field that's going to be giving you a lot of good information. We're heavily involved in advisory boards that determine industry best practices. So we share what we learn with other technology service providers and help establish best practices in our field, and we participate in a nonprofit, Secure the Village. We're on the leadership council there, and a lot of that has to do with what you're getting here today. We educate the business community about cyber threats. We were doing a lot of these events in the local pubs and brews in our geographic areas, and now these have all turned to virtual events like we're having today, and we're actually the interest has been growing and we're getting more and more people joining us. So welcome everyone. And with that being said, I'm going to turn this back over to Jeremy to jump into our presentation.
Thanks, Matt. We're going to start by sharing with you guys some tools to help you guys increase security. Currently global events highlight the growing need to enable remote work. And so we'll share with you guys some low cost ways to secure your company now. As businesses have a continuing need to quickly and securely enable remote work, DiamondIT is providing organizations with workshops focused on helping them assess their remote worker capabilities. During these workshops, we can discuss the critical steps for remote work scenarios and how we can rapidly help you deploy solutions. We can help evaluate your options and provide you with a concrete deployment plan for a secure remote work environment, but also identify potential blockers and challenges to those deployments. These workshops, they're primarily focused on quick enablement, and we want to empower people to stay connected and to collaborate from home, but still maintain security and control of your environment and your company data. We really believe in taking a layered approach to security. It's a really simple way to improve security, your current security stack. It's important to add advanced layers of protections beyond just the traditional anti-spam, antivirus, and perimeter firewall layers of protection for your organization. Security really is an ongoing process. We have found that user training and security awareness is the single best value. 95% of all breaches are due to user errors. And there's no silver bullet to offer 100% protections. Security really is all about mitigating risk. IBM's Cybersecurity Intelligence Index, reported, again, 95% of breaches are due to user errors. I know we have a free cybersecurity offering, a free security awareness training offering we'll kind of get to near the end of our event. We'll have Matt talk to you guys about that a little later. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A for us. Digging a little deeper into those layers that we like, Diamond strongly recommends protections like DNS filtering. It makes it much harder for users and devices to access external threats. These DNS protections, they can protect users and devices from visiting malicious URLs and external domain names. We also use a breach detection software as an additional layer of internal security. It provides a proactive monitoring, detection, and response system that can catch and eliminate malicious footholds as soon as they're created. And security awareness training, it's really an important layer to educate your users and to measure their propensity to click. It uses regular ongoing phishing email tests sent to your users, by the good guys, of course. We just completed a phishing test for a new customer. This new customer, they had a 63.7% click rate on a phishing email that we sent. These platforms for security awareness training, they offer reporting and training videos to better educate users on avoiding cybersecurity threats. Dark web monitoring detects compromised credentials from your organization that are found in real time on the underground black market of the internet. This is really important to help data loss prevention and security breaches. The most common factor in breaches are users and devices. So a Verizon data breach investigation report showed 81% of hacking related breaches leverage compromised credentials. It's easy to understand because credentials are very easy to steal. And that's also why multi-factor authentication should be deployed to both protect systems and services with additional mechanisms against stolen and compromised credentials. Real simple, your bank sends you a text message code to log into your banking website to protect you. We can apply those same protections to apps and devices and users in your environment. And we really want organizations to know that they may already have licensing and tools that can be leveraged to increase their security. You might already have services or features that just need to be enabled. Sometimes you can simply upgrade a license and add an entitlement to a feature for little cost. The Microsoft 365 security and compliance capabilities, they provide many underutilized features intended to secure businesses and give you visibility into threats. We use the Microsoft Security Score and/or the Microsoft Compliance Score reports. These scores, they're really not meant to be perfect, but they do provide visibility when identifying risk, and they serve as a guide for where organizations should focus changes to their security policies to improve their posture. Many of these Microsoft policies out of the box, they're all set to defaults for simplicity, for ease of use, ease of deployment. But there's very simple to harden those things. Minor changes can be made with simple policy adjustments to really increase your security. So if you're already using Office 365 or any Azure Microsoft products, your employees are already using Azure AD for single sign-on. With Microsoft's Azure AD, you can easily enable remote access to applications. We're talking both cloud applications like O365 or Salesforce and Dropbox, but we can also extend those protections to on-prem web applications without the need for a VPN. Azure AD is a fantastic way to extend secure identities and access beyond just your local domain joined workstations and hosted email. Using Azure AD as your single control plane is a great way to secure all of your apps, whether they're on-premise or in Microsoft's cloud or in another cloud. Internally, Diamond has almost 8 or 9 tools, all secured with single sign-on for Azure AD and all protected by multi-factor authentication. Very simple extension. You apply those same sets of credentials and integrations to multiple apps. It simplifies things for users too, makes them easy to sign on with one set of credentials. And when we protect these things by MFA and conditional access, you can apply security policies to ensure that the right people have the right access to the right apps under the right circumstances. So as organizations continue to shift to remote and hybrid work environments, it's important to remember that different workers have different needs. So we'll talk a little bit about the long haul for remote work. Using Microsoft Teams has allowed DiamondIT to communicate and collaborate without compromising security. Teams was really built to help users communicate regardless of whether they're working from home, in the office, or even in the field. Microsoft Teams has been a huge game changer for remote workers because it tightly integrates with Office and email, and organizations can quickly add voice services and port over their phone numbers to use it as a phone system if needed. Meetings can be conducted on the fly. I think the number was 2.7 billion meeting minutes globally each day. In April, Microsoft was delivering 2.7 billion meeting minutes each day. That's a huge number. Platform has done fantastic and has really grown to support the need of this ever-changing mobile workforce. But group chats are fast and intuitive. They've got built-in functionality. It's really easy to adopt. Users can collaborate on files. Here at Diamond, we added telephone capabilities to our Teams platform and even ported over some phone numbers for our remote workforce. When you call our office and you press 1 for the service department, our dispatchers answer, and that call is routed to the entire organization, all from remote locations. So I know right now Microsoft's offering Teams and E1 Enterprise One licensing for hosted email for free for 6 months. So a huge opportunity there. Drop us a note if you're interested, because it's a great time to try out these tools, especially when you get 6 months of Microsoft services for free right now. So securely enabling access to company resources is generally top of mind for customers, and we know this is a challenge to onboard and manage new devices and personal devices. Bring your own device, BYOD. And some organizations may already have licensing and entitlement to platforms like Microsoft's Intune for mobile device and mobile application management. This Intune platform enables organizations to manage and configure devices, including applications and security policies, and how they can access company data. So Intune can really simplify how we secure endpoints, and it provides a lot of flexibility for bring your own device enrollments. It supports Macs, PCs, and mobile devices. And with this tool, we really can automate provisioning. We can safeguard against data loss. We can manage and deploy modern disk encryption and encryption methods, and we can really minimize threats all the way down to the devices that don't exist in our walls of our organizations anymore. They exist outside in people's homes and in cafes and mobile workforces. And then there's WVD. WVD is a key enabler for delivering cloud-based secure remote computing. Windows Virtual Desktop, or WVD, is a hosted desktop as a service. It helps employees stay productive, and it reduces the costs and resources associated with managing an on-premise infrastructure. It's not really a virtual desktop you can buy from Microsoft. It's really a set of tools and technologies to build virtual desktops for end users and for employees. WVD offers a multi-session Windows 10 desktop experience. It's optimized for Office 365, and it also supports remote desktop services, or RDS environments. And the basic difference between RDS, that remote desktop service, and WVD, the Windows Virtual Desktop, is RDS is based on a server operating system, and WVD comes with a desktop operating system. It's more like a multi-user Windows 10. So the entire WVD infrastructure is really managed by Microsoft, whereas with RDS, the infrastructure is created and managed and maintained by an organization or by a service provider. In a WVD scenario, the operating system installation, upgrades, patching, network configuration, everything is managed by Microsoft. It's been designed, for all customer types, all segments, and it really provides a productive and secure computing experience and lowering the total cost of ownership and complexity for organizations. We've been a private cloud provider for more than 10 years, and we've spent the last several years moving our infrastructure and our clients over to Microsoft Azure. It's been a huge benefit to us during the COVID-19 pandemic because all of our servers have already been moved. So Azure really is a proven platform. I think 95% of Fortune 500 companies have trusted their businesses to Azure. So talk about some tips for the latest cybersecurity threats. The cybersecurity threat landscape has really shifted as threat actors begin to exploit these COVID-19 themes. The landscape isn't any more active than it has been. We can measure that by volume, but it has been dominated by COVID-19 themes because there's such a compelling social engineering. For the most part, it's not a matter of if an organization should be targeted, it really is a matter of when. Incident response planning and tabletop exercises are a really affordable step to prevent and respond to an ever-changing threat landscape. IBM reported that 77% of business leaders admitted they don't have a formal cybersecurity incident response plan. You don't really want to wait until an incident occurs to figure out what you and what your team needs to do. The damage a data breach could create is directly related to the effectiveness of your organization's incident response. And this really should be important to business owners and decision makers. I know the National Cybersecurity Alliance reported that 60% of small and medium-sized businesses that were attacked never recovered. On average, businesses close within 6 months of a breach. And if anybody has any questions about incident response planning, we want to ask you to drop us a line or send us a message. We have an incident response checklist, and we can provide you with the links for those at the end of our discussion here. So incident response plans, they really are a living document that should be trained and tested. This is also a part of security awareness training. And they should be assessed and tested to refine your organization's capabilities as it relates to security incidences. So a tabletop exercise is simply a simulation of an actual crisis to validate existing IR plans, incident response plans. And they're an affordable step that teams can take to simulate an incident and give employees hands-on training. It can highlight flaws in your IR plan. We use injects to add new pieces of information. We deliver those things at key times to expand the discussion and identify, I guess, holes and risks and limitations of current plans. And of course, the most effective tabletop exercises are always led by facilitators who can create scenarios and injects that are tailored to your unique vertical, your people, your processes, and of course, your technology. It really is important in an organization that everybody take responsibility to have a culture of security and to avoid falling for the latest cyber threats. The most basic principles of secure remote access are always know who's in your network and have a defined security policy. That Verizon data breach report indicates that 86% of users have too much access to corporate data. So access control roles should be used to define what we call least privilege use. The principle of least privilege use is an important concept in security. It's the practice of limiting access rights for users to the bare minimum permissions they need to perform their work. You know, IT and security providers, we have to get things right 100% of the time, but a threat actor only has to get it right once. And compromise only takes a single user to click, and we know the human firewall is always the weakest link in the security chain. Of course, you can always count on DiamondIT to continue to provide you with the same high level of support you're used to. So you guys can focus on your businesses, your employees, and your customers. And we know that together we can help you protect your organization from the inside out and do our part to fight this economic and security threats that we're facing here as a part of COVID-19. Something else that's really important to remember is be wary of scammers that are now texting or calling and emailing potential victims. This two-factor phishing is an important thing. These threat actors, they may state that an authorization code can be sent to you, and they can ask you to follow a link or enter your login information and codes. We want to remind you guys to never retext, email, or provide your authorization codes or your phone numbers, your MFA codes to others. Once someone has all three of these pieces, they can change phone numbers and multi-factor methodologies. They can change passwords and they can hijack your accounts. 70% of breaches this year were caused by financially motivated actors from outside of an organization. So with that, I want to pass it back to Matt, and he can talk a little bit about our free cybersecurity awareness training offering.
Yeah, great place to segment to that. So, you know, at Diamond, we can talk about all of, you know, the things that we should do, but we wanted to take one step further and help secure the local businesses in our communities that were calling and registering for these educational virtual events. So you probably heard through the people either called or on the invitation that we're offering this free cybersecurity awareness training. Jeremy spoke a little bit about it. It does include a phishing simulation, so you're going to figure out how bad your clicking problem is today. And what we've seen, Jeremy, I think, you know, I don't have the exact percentages in front of me, that over time, over a 6-month to 12-month period of time, as our clients continue to engage in the training that's provided after the clicking and the phishing simulations, that they get down to almost zero, in many cases, 0 clicks in the following engagement. They become much smarter users. And being that 95%, I think, is what you said, that of these breaches are from user error, or users clicking, or compromised credentials. I mean, this is a big hole that we're shoring up. So it's a $750 value to set this up, to show you your reports, to go through this with you comprehensively and show you what this means, and give you an opportunity to get your users trained so that you can reduce that risk. So just send us a quick chat in the Q&A and let me know if you're interested. We'll be following up in the next week or two to see if you're interested in signing your company up for the security awareness training and phishing test. Again, I think it's a huge value to all companies to take advantage of this, and probably, outside of the great education we've gotten today, one of the biggest values that your organization can take advantage of to lower your cybersecurity risk. So you want to give some time, Jeremy, to let some people fire off some questions, see if we have any questions in the chat. And this would be a great time if you have any questions or would like to expand on any of the topics or any other topics that you might want to bring to the table. Give everybody a couple minutes here to fire off any questions.
I'm going to go ahead and drop in our link here for our incident response checklist. In 1 second, I'll drop that, guys, in chat for you guys. And
I'm just trying to keep.
We want to thank everybody for joining us today. Got our email addresses here on this this last slide. Shoot us a message if you guys have any questions or are interested in any of the things we talked about today. We will send you guys out all an email with a recording, a copy of the slides, and also links to those planning checklists and information on the Microsoft Teams and E1 trials. If you guys have any other questions or issues, shoot us a message, and we appreciate you guys joining us today.